It had been exactly 2 months since the divorce papers were signed, 60 long days that felt like an eternity to Ethan. The laughter in his home had turned into echoes. The walls felt chillier, and the tiny voice of his 5-year-old daughter, Lily, was the only sound that reminded him he still had something to live for. He thought he'd seen it all. Heartbreak, betrayal, and isolation. But nothing could have prepared him for the knock that came that Sunday morning. When he opened the door, he froze. Standing there in the gentle morning light was Sophie, his ex-wife's younger sister, the woman who once couldn't even meet his gaze. What she said next would turn his world upside down. Ethan had been surviving on routines, waking early, preparing Lily's breakfast, dropping her at preschool, and spending the rest of the day repairing old appliances for clients in his small workshop. He wasn't bitter anymore, just hollow. His ex-wife, Clara, had left after years of growing apart, saying she needed to find herself. He had accepted that. What he didn't accept was how she walked away, not just from him, but from Lily, too. A mother vanishing from her daughter's life, that was a pain he could never quite explain. Sophie had always been the quieter one between the two sisters, kind, calm, but reserved. During Ethan and Clara's marriage, she'd kept her distance, respecting boundaries, and staying away from their private troubles. She was a school teacher, gentle with children, soft-spoken, and always observing more than she spoke. And now she was the one standing at his door, nervously twisting her hands. "Ethan," she said softly. "We need to talk. It's about Clara." He motioned for her to come in, his mind racing. Sophie hesitated before entering, looking around the small living room, tidy but humble. Lily's toys were scattered in the corner, a blanket draped on the couch, and the faint smell of pancakes lingered in the air. "She's in trouble," Sophie finally said, her voice trembling. "Clara's been sick for months. She didn't tell anyone, not even me, until last week. She's in the hospital now." Ethan's breath caught. "Sick? What do you mean sick?" "Leukemia," Sophie whispered. She's not doing well." The words hit him like a blow. Memories flashed. The arguments, the silence, the love that had once been real, and the moment she walked out without looking back. For all his pain, Ethan had never wished her harm. She was still the mother of his child. Sophie reached across the table, tears brimming in her eyes. "She's been asking for you, Ethan. And Lily." For a long moment, he couldn't move. Then, without another word, he stood up and went to the next room. When he came back, he was holding Lily's small pink backpack. "Let's go," he said. The hospital was quiet when they arrived. Clara looked pale, fragile, nothing like the confident woman who once stood tall in every room. Her eyes opened weakly when she saw them. "Ethan." "Lily," she whispered. Lily ran to her mother's side, her tiny voice breaking the silence. "Mommy, you look tired." Clara smiled faintly, brushing her daughter's hair. "I missed you, sweetheart." Ethan stood back, his chest heavy with emotions he couldn't name. Clara looked at him then, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I was a coward," she said hoarsely. "I thought I needed freedom, but what I really needed was family. I'm so sorry." He said nothing. There were no perfect words for moments like this. Just silence and forgiveness that lived unspoken between them. And in the following days, Ethan visited every evening with Lily. Sophie was always there, sitting quietly by Clara's side, taking care of her, comforting Lily when she cried. Over time, Ethan began noticing how Sophie carried strength that no one ever gave her credit for. She was gentle yet fierce when it came to family. Weeks passed, and Clara's condition worsened. One night, as the hospital lights dimmed, she took Ethan's hand and whispered, "Promise me something. Take care of her, and take care of Sophie, too. She's been my strength when I had none." Ethan's throat tightened. He nodded, unable to speak. That. A few days later, Clara passed away peacefully, leaving behind silence and a strange kind of peace. Months went by. Ethan tried to rebuild life for Lily, school runs, bedtime stories, little walks in the park. Sophie often stopped by, helping with Lily's homework, cooking dinner, or simply keeping them company. She never tried to replace her sister. She just became part of their world. A quiet presence that brought warmth back into the house. One evening, As rain pattered softly outside, Ethan found Sophie in the kitchen helping Lily bake cookies. She was laughing, that soft, genuine laugh that made the room glow. Lily looked up and said innocently, "And Sophie, you should stay with us forever. Daddy smiles more when you're here." Sophie froze, cheeks flushing pink. Ethan, standing by the doorway, couldn't help but smile, too. After putting Lily to bed that night, he walked out to the porch where Sophie stood, looking at the rain. "She's right, you know," he said quietly. Sophie turned to him, eyes wide. "About what?" "About you making this place feel like home again." There was silence. "The kind that says everything words can't." "I never thought I'd find peace again," he admitted. "But somehow you brought it back. Not by replacing anyone, but by just being you." Sophie's eyes shimmered. "I didn't plan this, Ethan. I just wanted Lily to have love around her. And you, too." Ethan stepped closer, his voice trembling slightly. "And now I can't imagine a day without you here." Tears slipped down Sophie's face, but this time they were from warmth, not pain. The next morning, as sunlight poured through the windows, Lily came running into their room, clutching a drawing. It was of 3 stick figures, her dad, and Aunt Sophie, holding hands under a bright yellow sun. "Our family," she said proudly. Ethan and Sophie looked at each other, then at Lily, and both smiled through tears. As sometimes life breaks us to rebuild us stronger. Ethan had lost love once, only to rediscover it in the most unexpected place, in forgiveness, in kindness, and in the heart of someone who was always meant to stay. And as they stood there together, the past finally at peace, Ethan realized something profound. Sometimes the people who walk into your life after the storm are the ones who were quietly waiting for you all along.